From the moment Stephen A. Smith's voice cracked the airwaves, there was no mistaking it. This wasn't just another heated sports take. This was an accusation, a warning, and a challenge all rolled into one. On national television in front of millions, Smith didn't tiptoe around his point. He drove it home with fire. He's being set up to fail, he declared. And he wasn't talking in hypotheticals. He was talking about Shedeur Sanders, the rookie quarterback drafted in the 5th round by the Cleveland Browns. He's thrown into the starting lineup for a nationally televised preseason game against the Carolina Panthers, without so much as a single first-team practice rep. If you're wondering why Stephen A. sounded so certain, the facts are damning. 11 practices into camp, Sanders had spent every moment working with the 3rd unit, tossing balls to guys who won't even make the final roster, running plays at half speed, and never once finding a rhythm with the starters. Then, out of nowhere, the Browns announced he would start the first preseason game, not as a reward for a breakout camp, not because he'd earned it by climbing the depth chart. No, because the other quarterbacks were unavailable. Kenny Pickett's hamstring was tight, Dylan Gabriel was dinged up, Joe Flacco was resting. And suddenly, Sanders was next man up. On paper, that might sound like opportunity knocking. But Smith saw something far more sinister trap dressed up as a chance. Throw a rookie quarterback into the fire, give him no chemistry with the starting offense, then let the world watch him struggle. And when he does, you bury him on the depth chart and point to the evidence that he's not ready. It's the kind of quiet sabotage that doesn't show up in a playbook, but leaves a career scarred. Stephen. He went straight to the top 2 Browns owner Jimmy Haslam, because Haslam has a history of meddling, shaping quarterback rooms behind the scenes, and, according to Smith, this had his fingerprints all over it. The evidence. It's right there in Haslam's own words, when asked about the decision to draft Sanders, Haslam didn't offer praise or optimism. He distanced himself from it entirely. That's Andrew Berry's call, he told reporters. If you told me Friday night driving home, y'all are going to pick Shedeur, I would say that's not happening. Let that sink in. The owner of the team flat out admitted he wouldn't have drafted the kid, then publicly shifted any future blame toward his GM. That's not leadership, it's insurance. It's the kind of statement you make when you want your name far away from a decision you plan to undermine. And this didn't just start in Cleveland's training camp. This story began on draft night. Shedeur Sanders wasn't supposed to be a 5th-round pick. Months leading up to the draft, scouts and analysts had him slotted anywhere from top 10 to top 3. He had the stats, the poise, the leadership, and yes, the bloodline. He was Deion Sanders' son, quarterback who'd played under the brightest lights in college football and handled it with precision. But on draft night, teams passed again and again. Not because they questioned his arm or his reads, but because they didn't like his last name. Stephen laid it out plain. This was payback. The NFL establishment had grown tired of Deion Sanders' outsized influence. His ability to dominate headlines, his unapologetic self-promotion, and his refusal to fit the quiet, compliant mold. Coach Prime wasn't just a coach. He was a brand, a CEO, a movement. He turned Jackson State into a national conversation. He made Colorado must-watch television, and through it all, he put his sons front and center. That rubbed a lot of powerful people the wrong way. So when Shedeur entered the draft, the stage was already set. The league didn't need a conspiracy. They just needed a shared understanding. Pass on him early. Let him fall. He can pay for his father's defiance. That's why the draft snub didn't feel like a random slide, it felt like a message. And now in Cleveland, the message continues. From day 1 of camp, Sanders wasn't treated like a potential franchise quarterback. He wasn't even given a fair shot to compete. There's no meaningful first-team reps, no work with starting receivers. Reports say he was throwing against equipment staff, while the guys ahead of him on the depth chart built chemistry with the offense. And now, after weeks of exile, he's told to start a game on national TV with none of the preparation that starting quarterbacks need. That's not development, it's a setup. And here's the irony. They might be underestimating the very thing they're trying to bury. Through all of this, Shedeur hasn't cracked. No public complaints, no angry quotes, just calm, focus, and quiet confidence. I know who I am as an individual, he told reporters. I can never feel less than any circumstance. That composure is exactly what scares them. Because if Sanders walks into this game and even holds his own, the entire narrative flips. Suddenly, the Browns can't hide him. The media can't dismiss him. And Jimmy Haslam can't say, "I told you so." One strong performance would turn this so-called setup into a launch pad. The very trap they laid could become the moment that cements him as a legitimate threat for the starting job. This isn't just about football anymore. It's about control. It's about who gets to write the story of Shadur Sanders' NFL career, the league, the Browns, or Sanders himself. The NFL has seen this movie before. Young black quarterbacks with swagger and talent are too often labeled projects or problems and shuffled to the margins before they ever get a fair shot. Smith has watched it happen for decades. When he saw how Cleveland was handling Sanders, he knew exactly what was going on. Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, the lights will come on and millions will be watching. The expectation, the hope, for some is that Shedeur will stumble, that the rookie will look out of place. They can point to the film and say, "See, he's not ready." But there's another possibility. The possibility that Sanders takes the field and flips the script. That the kid they tried to sideline becomes the headline because Shedeur Sanders has been here before. In high school, in college, at Jackson State, and at Colorado, it's been doubted, dismissed, and disrespected, and he's answered it the same way every time, by balling out. It's by proving that the lights don't blind him, they sharpen him. If he does it again on Friday, it won't just be a preseason win, it'll be a statement. A statement that the system set up failed, that Jimmy Haslam's safety net snapped, and that the NFL's quiet punishment for the Sanders name just backfired in spectacular fashion. And if that happens, this won't be remembered as the night they buried Shedeur Sanders. It'll be remembered as the night he introduced himself to the NFL on his own terms. The night the setup became the spark. The night the name Sanders rose not as Deion's shadow, but as Shadur's beginning, because sometimes the most dangerous player on the field is the one they tried to count out before the game even started.